Wow, the Oscar Valdez case just gets worse. VADA has now confirmed that a stimulant that he tested positive for, phentermine, is in fact an actual PED that can enhance the performance. And this is coming out of Canelo's gym with Oscar Valdez. Oh my gosh, stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Throw a like on the video. When you guys do that, it goes a long way to encourage others who could be looking for similar content in the world of boxing. My name is Ego. I am your one-stop shop for all your boxing needs. Bad news, Canelo's gym. The optics are looking real bad. I've been covering this story intently on my channel. Make sure you guys subscribe for the latest and greatest. My name is Ego. I am your host, aka Boxing Ego. We talk all things boxing. Now, check the previous videos that I did, but Oscar Valdez out of Eddy Reynoso, Canelo Alvarez's gym, tested positive. Canelo finally reacted. I made a video about it, so you guys got to catch up on those videos. Canelo said, "We know how hard you work. We know you're a clean fighter." Contrary to what Canelo's saying, he failed a VADA test. VADA has now seen that the WBC has cheated their own program that is supposed to incorporate VADA, the WBC Clean Boxing Program, CBP, and they've issued their own public statement, press release, if you will, regarding the situation. I'm sure they've received a lot of complaints and people are finger pointing and wondering what went on. So they came and clarified their stance on the matter. September 7th, statement from VADA. And we're going to read this from the top. Since VADA began its program 2011, our mission has been steadfast to remain independent and offer and promote effective anti-doping programs in boxing and mixed martial arts, MMA, through testing and education. Our board of directors and officers have more than 100 years of combined experience in combat sports and anti-doping. So the leadership of this program, they have a lot of knowledge. Some facts have remained unchanged since VADA's inception include: 1, performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, remain a significant problem in boxing and MMA. 2, well over 1,000 fights with no PED testing take place in the US in an average year, and few fighters undergo PED testing in the weeks and months leading up to the fight. Obviously a serious problem because you could lose your life in fisticuffs in these fights. Let's keep going. 3, when PED testing is performed by the state athletic commissions, the commissions seldom test for HGH, human growth hormone, EPO, blood doping, and IRMS, a test for exogenous testosterone, all of which are tested for by VADA. Only a handful of U.S. commissions use WADA-accredited laboratories, which VADA uses, and even fewer commissions utilize certified doping collection officers. So there's scrutiny, and they're defending their home ground because some people have said they don't like VADA, especially in light of what the WBC did. So they're trying to stamp and state their cause and say, hey, don't blame us. 4, VADA is an independent of the many public and private entities in boxing, MMA. 5, VADA is not a signatory to WADA, so we can adhere to what we believe is needed to maintain the strongest anti-doping program possible specific to combat sports under the financial constraints that we have. So they're basically saying, in layman's terms, we're going to do everything we can within the limits to test adequately and effectively. 6, VADA has only one list of prohibited substances, and these substances are prohibited at all times during the VADA program. Boom, there you go. Number 6, Oscar Valdez is guilty. He's guilty even if he didn't know or he drank herbal tea. He tested positive under VADA and the clean boxing program. Because he's a Mexican fighter or he's a favorite or whatever other reason the tribe and the WBC and Top Rank try to make this fight go through, right? They're wrong because VADA tells you they don't differentiate. As I've stated, Ego Stradamus strikes again, and still they don't differentiate between in competition and out of competition. They have a ban list. If you are testing and they collect a sample and you have X, Y, and Z in your system, and then you look at the bans list, stimulants or not, and you have that in your system, and it's over the amount, or amount that gets you flagged, you tested positive. Boom. 7, it is not VADA's role to adjudicate results. Sorry about that. And VADA cannot force entities who receive notice of our adverse results to act on them. So they just do the findings and do the test. 8, fighters who enroll in VADA do so voluntarily. 9, local athletic commissions and American Association of Boxing Commissions can choose to follow their own prohibited list. But if they enforce little or no drug testing, then this adoption has no meaning. It is just words. And 10, vigilance with regard to PED use is essential to fighters' safety, which is our primary concern. VADA stands by its decision to maintain a single list of substances that are prohibited at all times. Insist on keeping a single list. So they're double downing on it and making it clear that the WBC and Top Rank and ESPN and Oscar Valdez, they have cheated the system. That's what they're saying. They say we only have one list. We don't do the multiple lists. So we believe that works for us. And it's a single list. It says VADA stands by its decision to maintain a single list of substances that are prohibited at all times instead of having a separate, quote, out of competition prohibited list. Boxing and MMA are inherently dangerous. The hazards and risk are not limited solely to the day of the fight. Ooh, they cooking. And VADA believes that 2 lists would place fighters at undue risk. So they said, and they're explaining why they don't separate, because if you have an in competition and out of competition stance, then that means the in competition means the night before, like 11:59 the night before. That's what they in competition is, something like that, right? So that means you could be in training camp with all this goofy stuff and stimulants in your system, and they don't consider that in competition, which is a loophole, and it's stupid. And VADA says that we don't differentiate the two, right? It says whether during a fight or during training. I mean, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do and get the benefits of any drug, why would you need to do it the week of the fight? You're at the fight, you've arrived in Las Vegas or wherever the fight, New York, wherever the fight is, you've already done the hard part. Floyd Mayweather always said, he's like, oh, I shine under the bright lights because I did the hard work in the gym. So if people aren't doing the hard work in the gym and their hard work is sticking a needle in their butt or doing roids or HGH or EPO or whatever to give them an unfair, unnatural advantage, then they can do that in training and circumvent this from happening because it's out of competition, which is stupid. So I understand VADA's standpoint here. Man, this is such a terrible look. This is such a terrible look. It says, including how stimulants act on the central nervous system and cause withdrawal side effects. These risks can be reviewed online. Putting aside these dangers, stimulants can enhance the performance in ways that include, but are not limited to, increased metabolic rate, increased power and strength. They decrease fatigue, aid in weight loss, and suppress appetite. They can provide an unfair advantage in competition. VADA remains committed to supporting combat sports and protecting the fighters to the best of our ability. Margaret Goodman, MD, so an actual doctor, VADA president, an MD, unlike Mauricio Suleiman, who sits at a desk and inherited his father's company and took over. Oh, this is a bad look. So there's no argument. VADA's stance confirmed that a fighter out of Canelo Alvarez. Payday, you want payday. I know that out of his gym has officially failed. And even though the WBC, you're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Say, man, I ain't falling for no banana in the tailpipe. Even though the WBC tried to hit the fans with the banana in the tailpipe, VADA shut that down and confirmed what I already told you from other experts, Victor Conti in this field and Angel Mimo Heredia. They already told you these are PEDs. I've already reported about that. But the WBC, the WBC, by doing this, has spit in the face of all boxing fans. And this is a huge black eye on the sport of boxing, because you have the WBC. He doesn't have a doctorate. He is not a doctor. He is not in science. He is not a major in that. And he's telling you that Oscar Valdez, who's clearly on the good boy program or whatever that he wants to protect, didn't really fail, and they assessed it, and it's the equivalent of drinking 3 Red Bulls. But that was a stupid statement for Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC to say, because as I mentioned previously, you can buy 3 Red Bulls at any convenience store. A 7-Eleven, which stays open 7-Eleven, it's open 24/7, right? You could go pick that up, no problem, at any hour of the day. Like, I could go get a Red Bull right now. It's 10 at night. I could wait 2 hours and then go pick up 3 Red Bulls, and no one will do anything but take my money. What you can't buy is stimulants and doctors prescribed without an illegal prescription or a script. You have to get that. You have to get that from a doctor, right? This is just common sense. Like, sometimes I have eczema rashes and stuff, and they have this steroid cream. I have to go to a doctor to get that cortisone cream with some of the steroids. It's not like a steroid that is like anabolic steroid, but it's just for skin rashes and stuff. But you cannot. I've been to every store, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS. You cannot get it there unless you get it from the pharmacy. Oh yeah, with the prescription. So Phetamine is a powerful weight loss supplement or drug that is considered a controlled substance. So VADA has just now eradicated the WBC. They made them look horrible, and they contradict. That's basically what's happening. They're contradicting the WBC's Red Bull comparison. It says, putting aside the dangers, so they're saying it's dangerous, stimulants can enhance your performance in ways that include, but are not limited to. So it can maybe do more than what they're listing. Increase metabolic rate, increase your power, and increase your strength, decrease your fatigue, and aid in weight loss, and suppress your appetite. So imagine you're a fighter in camp, and I told you this was such a foolish thing for the WBC to do, but we here now. Now we're doing the blackout for sure. They're telling you Oscar Valdez is fighting this Friday on PEDs or with the failed PED test. He doesn't know why it's in his system. There's no reason for this fight to go on. And if somebody dies or gets maimed or permanently handicapped from it, the blood will be on certain people's hands. But the VADA wrote this open letter and say stimulants can enhance your performance in ways that include, but not limited to, increase metabolic rate, power, strength, decrease fatigue, aid in weight loss, and suppress appetite. So, hey, how is this fair when Glass Joe over here is already not a champion and he's a challenger, and he's fighting a guy who's a champion, and he has to do it the earnest way and the old-fashioned way, right? And just make weight. He got to just make weight in the best way he knows how to, right? And he has to spit in cups. I've seen fighters do all kinds of stuff. Some people spit in the cup because they have too much spit. They can't eat nothing. Sauna suit. I've seen fighters get in scalding hot water to burn calories. So these are the great lengths that fighters have to go through in order to make weight at times, especially those last few pounds can oftentimes be the worst few pounds, right? So fighters have to go through these great lengths, and it's already enough that you have someone who's a good fighter. Oscar Valdez, he's a two-peat Olympian. He's already a good fighter. And then on top of that, he's already a champion. He already has a better resume, and he's more experienced than you. But on top of that, VADA has now confirmed that it's a PED, despite what the WBC. We're not worried about what the WBC is talking about because he's not a doctor. And because he says, I'm not a cheater, never have been, never needed it, your test shows something different. So I used to work, like I tell you guys all the time, I used to have regular jobs before the boxing stuff. I worked at Lowe's. If somebody tested positive for something and they say, oh, I don't know how that happened, guess what? You're fired. They're going to clean out your locker. HR will be in touch with you. They'll mail you your last check and you're out of there. If you crashed crashed a forklift into, I've seen it happen. And and that's sad because these are corporations. And at the end of the day, Lowe's or a place like Home Depot or something, they don't want the liability. They don't want the liability of somebody who's using drugs and stuff. You could kill a customer, right? So most of the time, companies like that, they're going to do everything in their power to distance themselves from that. So anyway, when people would crash the forklift and damage property, things like that, they immediately did a drug test. And if they flagged for anything and there was no doctor's note or prescription for why that controlled substance was in their system, you're gone. You're out of here. But in boxing, it's the Wild Wild West, and Oscar Valdez tested positive last month, and all he has to do is say, oh, I'm a clean fighter. He said, I'm not a cheater, never been, never needed it. Oh, okay. He says he's hurt and, sympathy. You're using steroid. That you tested positive for this, and you can't tell where it came from. And beyond all that, you won't submit the herbal tea that you allegedly drank so a lab can test it. You should listen. This is how I know it's cap, because you should submit the herbal teas that you drank and say, here, clear my name, take this to the lab, show cross-contamination, and prove my innocence. And if that doesn't happen, or when that happens and they found phetamine in somebody's tea that caused you to flag and stained up your whole the imagery and the branding, then you have a clear lawsuit. You could say, oh, this is pain and suffering, defamation of character, because everyone thinks I'm a drug dealer or a drug addict now. But boxing, like I said, is the Wild Wild West. He says he doesn't have a prescription on camera. It's over. The WBC, the VADA just went against him and said, hey, we don't authorize that. I showed you. This is a controlled substance, phetamine. You don't have a prescription and you're carrying a controlled substance. In any other situation, any other job, if the police pulled you over and you have drugs on you and you can't explain how or why you have these drugs that you're not supposed to have in this quantity, then it's over. He says he doesn't take phetamine. Oh, okay, you need a prescription. I don't even know what phetamine is. I didn't take phetamine. Okay. Oh, this is a bad look. This is a bad look. And this is BS too. They're talking about he passed a later test. Yeah, he passed a later test because the PED experts said that this stays in your system for 20 hours. So it's easy to get out of your system. Crazy. VADA confirms it's a PED. Oh man, this is just a bad look, y'all. It's a bad look no matter how you slice it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. I got more heat coming. You dig. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work.